Welcome to the Note Nuggets podcast, where you can learn how to become the bank, build wealth, and accumulate streams of income perfect for your savings or IRAs. You'll hear from industry experts, seasoned veterans, and everyday investors. Our goal is to teach you how to invest in notes, one nugget of knowledge at a time. Here's your host, Kevin Galang.
Welcome to the first episode of the Note Nuggets podcast. Thank you for stopping by and giving us a listen. Now, for this episode, as the very first episode, I want to do a couple of things. I want to introduce myself, who I am, how I got started in note investing. I want to give you the expectations for this show and the type of value you will receive as a listener. And then we'll define what a note is. Now, the first point is who I am. Who am I as your host? Well, my name is Kevin Galang, and I am just like you. If you're listening to this, I'm sure most of you have a 9-to-5 job. And like all of you, I was told growing up that the way you are going to become financially secure is by investing in your 401k, saving up for a primary residence, and then working until you retire, and then life will magically be okay with whatever you amass from the time you start working till the time you retire. And I used to believe that. I used to believe that wholeheartedly. That is, until I lost an argument with my girlfriend. She was the one that convinced me that we need multiple streams of income to build wealth and be financially secure in the long run. She was right, 100%. And that's an argument I am happy to have lost. So I started searching on the internet for ways to retire early, ways to build wealth. One of the most consistent methods was investing in real estate. So I was in your shoes. I started consuming as much information as possible. I read a ton of books. I listened to a ton of podcasts and networked with anybody who was willing to network with me. One thing you'll learn about investing in any asset is there are multiple ways that you can make money. And that can be investing in stocks, that can be investing in businesses, and that is for sure the case for investing in real estate. Now, my advice to you on that specific issue is to pick one way that you believe that you can make money in and dive into it. Learn everything you can about it, and then take action. Additionally, you could be like me and stumble upon it. I learned about note investing while I was listening to another real estate investing podcast. The guest talked about real estate investing without owning a single property. He even mentioned that you could be the bank. You would be that person or entity that homeowners and investors pay. I was blown away by that fact. Further in the episode, he talked about how you can buy what are known as non-performing notes, where the borrower is not paying their mortgage, for example. You can buy these at significant discounts. And then you can help those people stay in their homes. Because let's face it, I'm sure many of you have heard that statistic that a majority of Americans are one financial crisis away from basically being financially ruined. Many of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Anyways, for the last few years, I've been focusing on note investing. I've been networking with other investors, building relationships with attorneys from different states, reaching out to asset managers while building wealth and streams of cash flow along the way. Note Nuggets is a culmination of my experience and knowledge. Because I believe in abundance, I want to share all of that with you. Honestly, if I can become a note investor, you can too. Now that you know a little bit about me, let's talk about what you as a listener can expect from the Note Nuggets podcast. Each episode will talk about one aspect of note investing. My goal is for you to be able to walk away from each episode with a new nugget of knowledge to help you on your investing journey. You're going to get tons of value from industry experts, seasoned veterans, different people you'll want on your team as an investor, and even from everyday investors like you. The Note Nuggets will be snippets of interviews of my guests. And by the way, for my subscribers, I'll be giving you full access to these interviews along with additional weekly note nuggets to help you learn about this fantastic niche of real estate investing. If you want to be a subscriber, all you have to do is go to subscribe.notenuggets.com. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is what a note is. A note, which you will hear casually in conversation, is short for a promissory note, which ultimately means a promise to pay. It's a legally binding contract between a borrower and a lender. Within the contract, there are many details that you will find in it, but ultimately it's going to talk about how much money the borrower is borrowing, how much time they have to pay the money back, and what interest rate that they are going to be borrowing the money at. Because the lender is taking on the risk, they need some incentive to lend the money out. Personally, my team and I, we invest in mortgage notes. These are notes that are secured by real estate. What's advantageous about that is that in the event the borrower can't pay, I and my team are protected by a real asset, like a house, for example. However, in the U.S., there's roughly $2.5 trillion in unsecured debt, things like credit card debt and student loans, for example. This is debt that doesn't have an asset tied to it. For my team and I, it's a little too risky for us, but it's also an option that people make a profit off of and generate cash flow as well. You'll learn about this too. In fact, in an upcoming episode, you'll learn about how you can get paid like a rock star or a pro athlete with note investing. Now, before I sign off, I want to mention that I've created a quick yet valuable free note investing ebook just for my listeners. It's about mortgage note investing and how you can get started today. You can grab your free copy at ebook.notenuggets.com. So that's it. I hope you learned about who I am and what you can expect about Note Nuggets. If you have any questions about any of the episodes, or you want to book a time on my calendar just to chat about notes, go to contact.notenuggets.com and there will be a live updated calendar for you to book a time with me. And that's it for this week's episode of the Note Nugget Podcast. Welcome to the Note Nuggets Podcast. I am so glad that you are here, and I am looking forward to providing you with as much value as I can on your investing journey. So I'll see you next week for another nugget of knowledge that you can use as an investor.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Note Nuggets Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show to get access to additional weekly value nuggets and get notified with episode updates. To subscribe, all you have to do is head over to subscribe.notenuggets.com. If you have any questions about this episode or note investing, book a time on Kevin's calendar at contact.notenuggets.com. We'll see you next week with another note nugget to add to your tool belt.